All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into leadership coaching.
Okay.
You're here because you're interested in leveling up your leadership skills,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about why even someone like a seasoned CEO, like former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, swears by having a coach.
Yeah, it's fascinating how the very best in any field, whether
Yeah.
you're talking about athletes, musicians,
Mhm.
you name it, all have coaches.
Yeah.
And leadership is no different.
Yeah.
It's really not about being the loudest voice in the room,
Right.
but it's about empowering others to reach their full potential.
It's easy to think, like, I'm the boss, I've got this.
Yeah,
But what's so powerful about coaching is that it's a constant process of growth,
exactly.
no matter where you are in your leadership journey.
Right, and a key part of that growth is recognizing that leadership is a skill
No.
that can be honed and refined.
Right.
It's not some innate quality that some people just have and others don't.
Absolutely. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are some actual coaching techniques that maybe like a busy business owner or team leader, here in the US
Yeah.
can start using right away?
Well, we can break it down into 3 core pillars.
Okay.
First up, active listening.
Okay.
We hear this phrase a lot, but it's truly transformative when applied to leadership.
So it's more than just hearing words,
Hmm.
right? What does that actually look like for a leader?
Think of it as truly tuning in to your team members.
Okay.
Not just waiting for your turn to speak, but you're paying attention to their body language. You're asking clarifying questions, and you're making sure that they feel heard and understood.
So it almost sounds like you're describing building a personal connection
Exactly.
rather than just issuing commands.
Yeah. Building trust and rapport is absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
That's how you create a space where people feel comfortable
Right?
sharing their ideas, their concerns,
Yeah.
even admitting when they need help.
Totally. If someone doesn't feel like their voice matters,
You're right.
they're probably not going to bring their A game.
Yeah.
So, okay, active listening. Pillar number 1.
Uh-huh.
What's next?
Pillar number 2 is all about asking the right questions.
Okay.
Now, this might seem counterintuitive, especially if you're used to being the problem solver,
Uh-huh.
but instead of giving direct instructions,
Right.
try posing thought-provoking questions that guide your team towards finding their own solutions.
So instead of saying, here's how to fix this,
You're right.
you might say, what are some roadblocks that you're facing? Or what resources would help you tackle this more effectively?
Exactly. It's about shifting from a tell mode to an ask mode.
Okay.
When you ask the right questions,
Uh-huh.
you encourage critical thinking, creativity, and ownership.
It's about empowering them to become problem solvers themselves,
Yes,
which is a valuable skill for anyone, regardless of their role.
absolutely. And this approach can be particularly beneficial in fast-paced environments,
Right.
like tech startups or sales teams, where agility and independent decision-making are essential.
Okay, so we've got active listening.
Yes.
We've got asking insightful questions.
Uh-huh.
What's the third pillar of this leadership coaching trifecta?
The third pillar is giving constructive feedback.
Right.
Something everyone needs to grow, but it can be tricky to deliver effectively.
Yeah.
No one wants to feel attacked or demoralized.
Right.
So the key is to frame your feedback in a way that's both helpful and encouraging.
It's about finding that sweet spot between, being honest
Right.
and being supportive.
Exactly.
Do you have any specific techniques
Absolutely.
for delivering feedback that actually lands well?
A classic technique is the sandwich method.
Okay.
You start by highlighting something positive the person has done.
Mm-hmm.
Then you provide specific and actionable feedback on areas for improvement.
Okay.
And finally, you end on a positive note of encouragement and support.
I like that it's like a compliment sandwich.
Exactly.
So it makes receiving feedback feel less like a lecture and more like a genuine conversation.
Exactly. It's about creating a positive and supportive environment
Right.
where people feel comfortable receiving feedback and they're motivated to improve.
So let's say you're a sales manager
Yeah.
and you have a team member who's struggling to close deals. How would you apply the sandwich method in that situation?
You could start by acknowledging their strong communication skills
Okay.
or their ability to build rapport with clients.
Mm.
Then you gently point out that their closing rate has been lower than expected
Yeah.
and perhaps suggest they work on their negotiation skills or something like that.
So it's about identifying specific areas for improvement,
Right.
but doing so in a way that doesn't
Yeah.
demoralize them.
Yeah.
And then you finish by reiterating your belief in their abilities
Yes.
and offering your support.
Precisely. It's about creating a sense of partnership where you're both working together towards their success.
It feels much more collaborative
Uh-huh.
and less hierarchical than that, traditional boss-employee dynamic.
That's the beauty of leadership coaching. It's about shifting from that top-down approach to a more collaborative and empowering one.
Right.
It's about fostering a culture of growth and development within your team.
I like that these three pillars, active listening, asking insightful questions,
Right.
and giving constructive feedback, seem like they can apply to a wide range of
Absolutely.
leadership situations.
That's whether you're leading a team of 10 or a company of 1,000.
right.
These principles remain relevant and impactful.
Yeah.
And remember, leadership coaching isn't just about boosting individual performance. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change throughout your entire organization.
So it's not just about helping individuals succeed, it's about building a stronger, more collaborative, and ultimately more successful team overall.
Exactly. And that's where the real power of leadership coaching lies.
Nice.
It's about creating a culture of growth, development, and shared success.
Well said, and that leads us to the next part of our deep dive. We've laid the foundation with these three core pillars,
Yes.
but how do we bring them to life in practical, everyday situations?
Right.
That's what we'll be exploring next.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about how to weave those coaching techniques into your daily leadership routine.
Yeah, because I think a lot of our listeners are probably like,
Yeah.
this all sounds great, but I barely have time to answer my emails, let alone coach my whole team.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And that's precisely why we need to ditch this idea that coaching requires, these grand formal sessions.
Right.
It's really about integrating these small but mighty actions into your existing workflow.
I like that idea of, micro-coaching.
Exactly.
So how might that play out, in a real-world scenario?
Yeah.
Like, say you're a team lead, and you're noticing that morale is kind of dipping a little bit.
Okay, that's a perfect example. So instead of, calling an emergency meeting
Right.
or sending out a generic pep talk email, you could simply start by taking a few minutes with each team member to actively listen to their concerns.
Just walking over to their desk or scheduling a quick virtual coffee chat.
Exactly. Those seemingly small interactions can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Ask open-ended questions like, what's been feeling particularly challenging lately? Or is there anything I can do to better support you?
You're basically just showing them you're paying attention, you care,
Yeah.
and that you're there to help.
Precisely. And once you've actively listened and gotten a sense of, the underlying issues, then you can start incorporating those powerful questions to guide them towards solutions.
So instead of just, offering a quick fix or taking on the problem yourself,
Right.
you might ask, what are some strategies you've tried in the past
Yes.
that have worked well? Or, if you had unlimited resources, how would you ideally approach tackling this?
Those are fantastic examples.
Yeah.
These types of questions not only help them tap into their own problem-solving skills,
Yeah.
but they also foster a sense of ownership and accountability.
It's like subtly shifting the mindset from, this is my boss's problem, to, we're in this together and I have the power to
Right.
contribute to the solution.
Exactly. And when team members feel empowered to be part of the solution,
Right.
they're more likely to be engaged and motivated to see it through.
Okay, so we've sprinkled in the active listening, and we've asked some insightful questions throughout our day.
Uh-huh.
What about constructive feedback? How can we make that less daunting and more of a regular occurrence?
Remember the sandwich method?
Yeah.
You can use this even in casual check-ins. Did
Okay.
someone just nail a client presentation?
Right.
Great opportunity to say you really knocked it out of the park with that presentation.
Yeah.
I especially loved how you engaged the audience. One thing you could consider for next time is,
So you're weaving feedback naturally into everyday conversations
Yes.
rather than making it this separate formal event.
exactly, it becomes less about judgment and more about continuous improvement. And those small, consistent nudges can have a huge cumulative impact.
Yeah, this whole micro-coaching approach seems particularly valuable for busy leaders,
Yes.
especially in the fast-paced U.S. business world.
Absolutely. It's about maximizing those little moments throughout the day
Right.
to connect, guide, and empower your team. And the beauty of it is it becomes a habit,
Yeah.
a natural way of leading rather than a separate task on your to-do list.
So we've talked about the importance of coaching. We've talked about some specific techniques.
Yeah.
But what about the leader themselves? Like, what mindset shifts are needed to really embrace a coaching style of leadership?
That's a great point. One crucial shift is moving away from the hero-leader mentality.
Okay.
You know, the idea that the leader must have all the answers and single-handedly save the day.
Yeah, which can be tempting, especially when you're
Right.
passionate and driven to succeed, but
It can be detrimental to the team.
yeah.
A true leader coach recognizes that their primary role is to empower others to become the best versions of themselves. It's about fostering a culture where everyone feels valued, supported, and capable of contributing their unique talents.
So it's less about being the star of the show
Exactly.
and more about directing the spotlight onto your team.
Exactly. It's about celebrating their wins, supporting them through challenges, and creating an environment where they can truly shine.
And this all ties back to the idea that, great leaders are made, not born.
Yes.
It's a conscious choice to embrace that coaching mindset
Right.
and commit to that continuous learning and growth, both for yourself and for your team.
And the more you invest in developing your coaching skills, the more you'll unlock the potential not only within your team, but also within yourself.
Right.
It's a journey of continuous growth and discovery, and it yields incredible rewards.
This has been really insightful. We've covered so much ground today,
We have.
from the importance of coaching to practical techniques to mindset shifts. But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
this whole conversation has really highlighted how coaching, it's about so much more than just telling people what to do.
Absolutely.
It's about unlocking their potential,
Yeah.
fostering that sense of ownership,
Yeah.
and creating a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute.
What's fascinating is that this approach,
Yeah.
it isn't just about, warm fuzzies and good vibes.
Right.
Companies with strong coaching cultures actually see tangible results.
Okay.
We're talking about higher employee engagement, increased productivity, and ultimately better financial performance.
So it's not just a feel-good strategy, it's a smart
Exactly.
business strategy as
Yeah.
well.
And it's something that should resonate with any leader,
Yeah.
especially here in the US where the business landscape is so competitive.
Right.
It's about investing in your people and recognizing that they're your greatest asset. And the beauty of these coaching techniques is that they're adaptable
Yeah.
to any industry or team size.
All right, whether you're a tech startup founder in Silicon Valley or a restaurant owner in a small town,
Exactly.
these principles remain relevant and impactful.
It's not about having all the answers or being the perfect leader. It's about embracing that growth mindset and recognizing that you're always learning and evolving along with your team.
Yeah, I like that it kind of takes the pressure off of needing to be this,
Right.
all-knowing, infallible leader,
Yeah.
and it encourages a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
And that's what makes leadership coaching so transformative.
Yeah.
It's not just about achieving specific goals. It's about creating that ripple effect of positive change
Right.
that benefits the entire organization.
So as we kind of start to wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what is one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with?
I would say leadership coaching is not a luxury. It's a necessity. And it's not something that requires a huge time commitment or, a radical overhaul of your leadership style.
Yeah.
It's about making small, consistent changes that will have a profound impact on your team and your organization.
And those small changes, like actively listening to your team members, asking insightful questions,
Exactly.
providing constructive feedback, could really be integrated into your everyday interactions.
Exactly. It's about shifting your mindset and approaching leadership as a collaborative journey
Yeah.
of growth and development.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation.
It has been.
We've explored the power of leadership coaching.
Yeah.
We debunked some common myths and provided some practical techniques that anyone can start using today.
Absolutely. I hope our listeners feel inspired and empowered to embrace a coaching style of leadership and
Yeah.
unlock that full potential within their teams.
And remember, leadership is not a destination, it's a journey. So keep learning, keep growing,
Well said.
and keep inspiring those around you.
On that note, it's time for us to sign off.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into
Yeah.
the world of leadership coaching.
Yeah.